Audit group Deloitte says the effects of COVID-19 are having a significant impact on the technology sector, affecting the supply of raw materials, disrupting the electronics value chain and causing an inflationary risk on products. Or more positively, the disruption has caused an acceleration of remote working and a rapid focus on evaluating and de-risking the end-to-end value chain. So how does a small IT solutions business cope during the COVID-19 crisis, and how can it best position itself for the upturn post-pandemic? Well, to answer these questions, we're joined by founder and managing director of Thaboera IT Solutions, Thabo Langalebalela. Thabo, good afternoon to you, and thank you for your time.
Hey, thank you for welcoming me on your platform.
Thabo, I mean, you started your IT company from the ground up. Tell us a bit about your journey, and what would you say has been the greatest impact of the lockdown on your business?
It's lockdown time. It's a global pandemic, so it forces us to new ideas. It's a new norm. New norm comes with new ideas, and that's what we implement. So if I have to talk about the past of Thaboera IT Solutions, it will kind of rob the future of what we're all about and what Thaboera IT Solutions stands for. It is business that we're doing. So when it comes to business and being an entrepreneur in my field, I pretty much look at the advantages from all disadvantages, meaning that we see some benefits in it, be that we know we sing the songs of the disadvantage, but we rather focus more on the advantages of it. The advantages from my entrepreneurial perspective, or rather for us within IT, it forces one to rather focus on the new approach within IT, meaning we move from the old IT structures where we're working with forms and on-site hand-on support, rather shifting into what we call a remote support. It's just one of the IT services that we do. We do IT solutions which involve IT support. And with IT support comes a lot of us being present to do connectivity and doing links and connectivities and solve problems. But with the new norm, with the new approach within business, especially for the IT guy, it forces us to move into the new era of doing IT business, IT support. And that counts to our advantages from an IT perspective. So when when Thaboera IT Solutions have to talk about the benefits of it, we'll say it's probably just, it helps us stretch us out to a greater client base, to a greater client platform. However, it also helps us in that same line. It also helps us to decrease a bit on our expenses from office rentals, to rather work from home, which is a benefit to us from a small medium.
I mean, Thabo, in March, when we all, as South Africans, really found out that we're now dealing with this pandemic, that the country is going to go into lockdown, how did you, as the founder and as a business person, make that decision to say, you know what, I'm going to use this as a business opportunity? I mean, you speak about the positives that have come from COVID-19, but how do you, as a business owner who's faced with possibly having your business shut down because it was new for everybody, how did you make that decision to say, I'm going to use this to the best of my ability?
I had to sit down, going back to the drawing board, to approach, do a bit of research, doing my surveys, re-engage with my clients, re-engaging with my suppliers. So from not the IT perspective, but from where we seated as Thaboera IT Solutions, that's believed to be an IT company that comes up with problems. Was it pretty much stressful at the beginning, truthfully speaking? However, we in business, we look at the advantages that we look at, or other opportunities that we look at as how to make it work for us. It was an outcry, which was an immediate outcry, which pretty much let us sit home and get a bit clued up with what's really happening. Because we were just told to be home, don't go to work, and later on was that information of the relief fund and so forth. But from an IT business perspective, it was a bit of a great advantage, because then we got to approach companies for IT support telephonically. Your TeamViews, that is now another platform software that we use to remote to others' computers to do IT support, to do greatest, IT support advantage. And more than that, it also increased our IT sales. IT sales in the perspective of laptops, not so much desktops, but laptops. We promoted laptops in what I called, we make tailor-made packages to clients, individual clients and companies. So it was a disadvantage to most IT businesses, but truthfully speaking, we saw a gap. Our gap was supplying laptops in bulks more than we focus on all other advantages of, or rather say the other advantages within business and what we have to offer. We strictly focus on how to make it work from a salesman perspective. Salesman in the sense of selling IT equipment, your laptops, your data bundles, your printers. Because remember now, when lockdown was called in, schools also had to lock down. But at the same time, when schools was locked down, was online schooling introduced. So online schooling needed us to promote your fiber installations, your network, your data cables, your Wi-Fi modems. We also needed to have home printers, your small home printers, scanners, printers, and copiers. So it was a nice approach. We went down to service providers. Some of the names that I wouldn't want to promote or rather mention here, because it's business for us. It's like some of my ingredients that we use from a business perspective. But we managed to have a nicer relationship to make packages.
And Thabo, I want to come in there with the issue of relationships. I mean, how important was it to maintain that relationship when many of your clients are still also struggling to make decisions for themselves and what their business is going to look like during this pandemic? How important was it for you to still keep your database and to ensure that you're still top of mind?
It's all about the value of the perception, that give them that perception that we're still valuable to them. And by us being valuable to them, we had to extend our networks into to creating relationships amongst us as, can I say, business people, as IT, can I call not IT giants, IT small, medium enterprise individuals. I personally, from Thaboera IT Solutions, we engaged with our resellers to create for us package prices. So the very same package prices we then had to sell to our clients from your corporates, your government institutions, your individuals, and we assure to deliver these can I say, packages, these individual devices. And we pretty much had a different approach as well on our marketing. More than we use your old approach on marketing, whereby we hand out flyers and your day-to-day marketing. Did we use social platforms? We used social platforms for marketing. We try to join different, can I say, economical platforms such as MLEE in Midrand, which is also an economical house for small, medium enterprises such as myself, whereby they used to meet clients of the likes of City Lodge here. So it is better to introduce, or rather, to expand your networks within your circle. So with that said, from a business perspective, we re-engage in a different marketing strategy. We made ourselves available to opportunities that was put on our table. We got into the norm of things. We moved from the old way of doing things. And with us doing the old ways of things, pretty much kept us behind. But the moment we shift into the new way of doing things, we could relate to our current clients that probably follow the old same process that we did, so we could then advise them from an IT perspective, from a, can I say, experience perspective. Look, let's engage with it a little bit on a new way. It's a newer way, a simpler way, and we introduce that simpler way.
So basically just being able to adapt with the times. Thabo, let's speak about government's relief fund. I mean, would you say it's been able to benefit small businesses in the sector? And have you tried to get access to those funds, and what has been your experience?
I love with all of me, because truthfully speaking, it was promises made, promises not fulfilled. Big difference. Government made promises that made us feel comfortable. Not because we want handouts. Government said, go sit at home. Government said, go sit at home. Don't worry, we will help you guys. However, promises wasn't fulfilled. But then again, it goes back to what we are. We are entrepreneurs. We don't hang up for too long on things that do not work. We look for gaps and we look for solutions. If you ask me about that, I'll say yes, we have followed process. We followed process. We've submitted all that was required. We've submitted. But was it paid out? No. Did we hand on and minding ourselves and killing ourselves from business because one thing didn't get through. No, we are in business. We had a new approach. I will say, from a government perspective, there's two ways. Government have given, but those that was put in place failed us. So it makes it a bit hard to say, no, government failed us. We'd rather say the authorities put in place failed us with the loss of processes. But then again, at the same way, I also say that's where us IT guys comes in. IT guys comes in from the software applications that should have been used for such as, the tracks, the records, the applications that needed to be developed for entrepreneurs such as myself and others to submit what is required and not just followed on calls and hand delivery and emails. The system failed the current process, truthfully speaking. Is the system of how to go about paying out these relief funds, or how, and not so much of a man-made decision. Let it be a system-generated system, not a man-made system. Man-made referring to, let us not send emails and then you decide if this is required and can this be paid out, but let it be system developed. Let us, from an IT perspective, us small, medium enterprises that knows how systems work, we develop these applications. We could have been called for assistance. Let there be tenders be set out for how to go about the relief funds. But does it work? It failed. It was a nice, beautiful approach, but an approach that failed us.
Right.
Government, if I should use the word government, I will say government failed small, medium enterprises, yet tried to help us. But it's South Africa, if I should put it like that. It is whereby we see favors only when we gain. That's what most do not understand. You sing songs of favors only when you gain from it and not understand the importance of what we currently trap with. We trap with a pandemic. Please, let's follow process. Let us help the president for helping the likes of us. So when the likes of us should be called small, medium enterprise individuals, especially in the technology field and platform, ask us, let them engage with us from a platform perspective and not just a telephonical perspective.
I hear you. I hear you, Thabo. I was hoping we'd have more time to discuss this because there's so much that you have to say, but unfortunately we have run out of time. That's Thabo Langalebalela, from the directing manager and founder of Thaboera IT Solutions, one of the companies that have been able to keep their lights on during this pandemic.